Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Layla, and for today's video, I'm going to be giving y'all a review on the Capital One Venture X credit card. If you watch just a few of my videos, you'll quickly figure out that I absolutely love credit cards. I open a new credit card fairly frequently, every few months or so, and that's primarily so I can take advantage of the cashback bonuses. I also use credit cards for every single purchase that I can so that I can optimize my cashback and points. However, I do pay off my credit card every single month, meaning I do not pay any interest on it, and my credit utilization score is always 0%. And the reason that I'm saying this is just as a disclaimer that if you are not somebody who can responsibly use credit cards, including this Capital One Venture X, then I would please ask you to not open credit cards, to not use credit cards, and maybe not to even watch these videos. So please use credit cards wisely and responsibly. If you are somebody who also likes to open credit cards frequently, I have a number of these videos. I will have them in my description box. I also have a playlist of these credit card review videos as well as accounts that I open for bonuses too. All right, so let's talk about Capital One Venture X. This is one of my favorite credit cards, actually. I opened this in December 2022. And I wanted to open this one because of the bonus, and they still have this bonus to this day. So if you apply for this card, which I do have my referral link in the description box, if you apply for this card and you get approved, and then you spend $4,000 within 90 days, you receive 75,000 bonus points, which is equivalent to $750 toward travel. Right off the bat, I want to say that if you are looking into a card and you are not somebody who frequently travels, this probably is not for you. This is best for somebody who is interested in getting points for travel. So after opening this card and reaching that spend requirement for my 75,000 bonus points, I did receive that bonus. I let those points or those miles sit in my account for a little bit of time because I knew we had a trip coming up that was in 2023. And I just let all my points accumulate for a few months. And with all of that, so with the bonus and all my accumulation of points, I was able to cover a full week stay at an Airbnb in Costa Rica, which is amazing. The Airbnb cost about $1,100, almost $1,200, so all of the points were able to cover that. And this was an absolutely beautiful Airbnb. I mean, obviously, there's no limitation to what you use these points for as far as Airbnb goes. With this Venture X card, you are able to book travel directly through their website, and for some circumstances that is necessary, like if you have travel credits on there or anything like that, but I'll get to that. But with Airbnb, you are not able to do that. You are not able to go through Capital One and then through Airbnb. What I did is paid for the Airbnb purchase with my Venture X card, and that's another plus because I got extra points for that too. And then once that purchase processes, I'm able to redeem my points for travel purchases. So I was just able to go in and say, hey, I want to cover this Airbnb purchase with my points. And then that took away what I had to pay. Like it took away the charge basically, which in my opinion is a plus because it doesn't mean I can only book through Capital One in order to take advantage of these points. If you take an Uber ride or if you take a Lyft, anything that has to do with travel, you can redeem your points and cover those purchases. Of course, in these videos, I always go over the pros and the cons, but before I get to that, I do want to mention the big thing here is that this card has a fee, and it's a pretty hefty fee. I've actually never had a credit card before this with a fee. And this one is $395 per year. However, you will get your money back and more throughout the year with this card. And that is why I ultimately decided to go with this, because if you know me, then you know that I do not like paying fees on any sort of account that I'm using or any credit cards. So I was on the fence because of this $395 fee, but to me, it has been worth it, not only because of the bonus, but because of all of the pros that I'm going to go through. Now, let me explain how they give you back that $395 though throughout the year. So first of all, every year you get a $300 travel credit. This does not come to your account as points. So keep that in mind. This is something that you will want to pay attention to. But if you go to book travel through Capital One, you can book hotels, flights, rental cars, and I'm sure there's other things too. You'll see on that website if you have any travel credit available. They will pop it up on the screen and you'll be able to see how much you have to spend. They will also show how many miles you have. So there is a difference between these travel credits and the miles. So you get this $300 travel credit every year. So that $300 travel credit can be redeemed through Capital One. You also get 10,000 bonus miles every year on your anniversary, and this is equivalent to $100. And this does not have to just be used on travel. Like, this will come to your account in miles, not as a travel credit. But that right there covers $400, so we're already, taking care of the $395 plus an additional $5. And it doesn't stop there. So if you are interested in TSA PreCheck, they will give you a $100 credit for that as well. So you do have to purchase it first, and then you can get reimbursed for that TSA PreCheck. That is not something that I have done, not something I've taken advantage of. And the reason I haven't done that yet is because I'm typically not traveling alone. So I would be the one going through PreCheck, but like my boyfriend, for example, would not have it because he doesn't have all these credit cards that I do. But at some point, it's probably something I will look into and take advantage of. But of course, when you're using your card for your everyday purchases, you are also receiving points or miles. So this leads me to the list of pros that I have for this credit card. And that would be that you get 2x miles on every single purchase, which I really like because this is the card that I use whenever I go to pay for doctor visits, or if I go to Walmart, because that doesn't count as grocery purchases. If I go and buy something at Target or Home Depot, if I pay a medical bill, if I go and get a car wash, anything that I can't get more points for, I use this card because most cards are offering less than 2% for those everyday purchases that are not covered on things like a 5% card. You can also receive 10x miles on hotels and rental cars booked through Capital One, and then 5x points on flights booked through Capital One. Just a quick side note that the miles that you earn do not expire, but that credit that I was talking about, the 300 annual credits, that does expire. They will tell you the expiration date when you go through to book travel through Capital One. You will see it clear as day. That's also not the only way to receive travel credits. So I actually experienced this a few months ago. We booked flights through Capital One, and we bought them at a time when the prices seemed, good enough for us to make the purchase. But Capital One, I can't remember how long, I think for like 2 weeks or so, they keep an eye on flight purchases. And if flights go down for what you just paid for, you will get a travel credit. That happened with our flights. So I got a $95 travel credit. So I ended up with $395 worth of travel credit. And with that, I just booked recently our rental car for the trip that we're taking later this year. And between the $395 travel credit plus the miles that I just had on my account, I was able to cover a full week of renting a car through Capital One. That was $508 that I did not have to pay. That was all just with the credit and the miles. So I thought that was really cool because I didn't have to do anything with my flight. I wouldn't have noticed that the price was going down. Like, I already booked it. And I thought that was really cool that the first time I had booked through Capital One, I was able to take advantage of that. I already mentioned this, but I think a big pro with this card is that you're able to use your miles for travel purchases after the fact. So anything that you don't actually book through Capital One, but it does count as travel, you can use your miles to cover those purchases. They make it super easy to do this. You can literally see which of your purchases qualify for the cash back to cover those purchases. You can see how much you have available to cover those purchases, and then you just go through those lists of purchases and select which ones you want to cover. A major pro with this card and Capital One in general is that they have no foreign transaction fees. So this is my go-to credit card when I am traveling internationally. Since I've had this card, I've gone out of the country 3 times, and this is the only card that I used while traveling abroad. This Venture X card is a Visa, which is obviously widely accepted in the States, but also widely accepted internationally. So anywhere that I use this card internationally, it was accepted. I had no problems, no issues. And of course, when you're traveling, you don't want to have to pay for a fee for those purchases. So I absolutely loved just the peace of mind that came with that. Another pro is that you get access to airport lounges. So not only do you get access to Capital One airport lounges, but honestly, I haven't come across many of those. I don't think there's one in Atlanta. If there is, it's usually not around the gates that I'm at. But you also get a priority pass with this card, and with the priority pass, you can access a number of lounges. This is something I'm a little bit bummed I haven't been able to take advantage of yet, just because I usually don't have too much time at the airport. I don't know, when we travel, we tend to be more on the safe side, and we're just like, hey, let's get to the gate. We get there early. We just want to be able to see that our our flight is at the gate, you know? But one day soon, I really want to take advantage of the lounge access, just because, you know, when you go to a lounge, not only is it more comfortable to sit there, it's quieter, but you usually get like free food and free coffee and that sort of thing. So still waiting to take advantage of it, but definitely a perk if you're somebody who uses lounges or wants to. You can also refer your friends and family to the Venture X card and receive up to 100,000 bonus miles per year. So each time you refer somebody, you get 25,000 bonus miles. This is honestly one of the most generous referral programs I've ever seen through a credit card, because 100,000 miles, keep in mind, is equivalent to like $1,000 worth of travel. So, you know, if you can just get 4 people to sign up with this, then you get 100,000 miles, which is pretty incredible. Like I said, I do have my referral link down below, so I would greatly appreciate if you use my link if you're interested in getting this credit card. Through my link, you are still able to receive the 75,000 mile bonus, and then of course everything that I'm talking about still applies as well. Let's talk about the cons of this card. The first one, of course, is the fee. At the end of the day, $395 is quite a bit of money. So yes, you get the credit and you get the extra bonus miles per year, and it does equal out, but it is still quite a bit of money, and I think that's why most people are hesitant to get this card. It's also something that you're going to pay for within like the first 30 days of opening the card, and you're not going to see the $300 travel credit until a few months, and you're not going to get the 10,000 bonus miles until about a year later. So if you open this card, you will want to be prepared to pay the $395. It is just going to be charged to the credit card, and then of course you'll want to pay that back as soon as possible. The other con is that the miles, if you want to exchange those for cash, it is not a one-to-one exchange. So for example, if you have 50,000 miles on your Venture X card, that is not equivalent to $500 cash if you get it straight to your bank. You are able to redeem your miles for cash if you wanted to, but it's going to be a little bit less. But of course, the 50,000 miles are equal to $500 when you actually book through Capital One, or if you redeem your points for any travel purchases. So at the end of the day, it's fine, because if you are somebody who travels, you will be able to take advantage of these miles at some point. But there have been times, like fairly recently, I was like, hey, maybe instead I can just redeem this for cash so I can put it towards savings. And I realized that, you know, my $300-something worth of miles does not equate to $300 of actual cash unless actually used for travel. At the time of me filming this, I've only had the card for about a year and 4 months. In the first year of having it, so this would be in 2023, like I said, I used this to cover a full week stay in Costa Rica or Airbnb. So that was about $1,200 worth of miles redeemed. And then so far in 2024, what I mentioned before with the travel credit and the miles, I was able to completely cover our full week of a rental car later on this year, and that was $508. And then I still have about $176 worth of miles that I could use if I wanted to. Those are not going to expire. I used my credit for the year, so that's exciting. Was able to take advantage of that before they expired. I did see on mine that they would be expiring at the end of the year, so December 2024. So it looks like they give you plenty of time to use your travel credits. I also use this card for so many purchases so that I can get those 2x miles, and I know that the amount of miles that I have is only going to grow so that I can use this later on in 2024 or next year or whenever I want to. So yeah, that's really it that I've got to say about the Venture X. As I said before, this is one of my favorite credit cards despite the high fee. I think it has been worth it, and I'm so glad that I opened this. If you're interested in this credit card, I would really appreciate if you used my referral link. That will be the first link in my description box. If you already have this card, let me know what you think of it, the pros, the cons, what you've used it for, how you used your miles. I would love to hear it. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one.